Hello, everyone. My name is Taryn Swanson, and this is my assignment number 1 community assessment presentation for Social and Economic Justice 2. The community I have chosen is the community I grew up in. It's called Wilmington, Delaware. So a little bit about Delaware in general. Delaware is the second smallest state in the United States. It's not obviously as well known as such other states as California or New York, so we find that a lot of people don't really know all that much. It is located south of Pennsylvania, west of New Jersey, and east and north of Maryland, just to give you a general idea of where exactly it fits in there. Wilmington itself is the state's largest city. It's located up in the very northern area of the northernmost county, which is called Newcastle County. According to the most recent population estimate from the U.S. Census, it was estimated at 71,442 people as of 2016. So in terms of large cities, it's actually pretty small. But being that Delaware is a small state in general, that's pretty big for us. So that's a lot of people in a very small area compared to the rest of the state. The race distribution for the state of Wilmington, or for the city of Wilmington, Delaware, we are at it's 32.6% white or Caucasian. There's a black or African American majority at 58% of the population. You can see in that blue section. American Indian or Alaskan Natives account for 0.4% of the population. Asian counts for 1%, and other is 5.4%. Now, from that overall population, from all groups, 12.4% of the population identify as Hispanic or Latino. And here we have the age and gender distribution. Now I've broken age down by gender as well to kind of give an extra little view into how exactly these ages are distributed and how the genders are distributed. So in the red bars you see the female population and the blue is male. The majority of the population is of what would be considered working age between the ages of 20 and 65. As you can see in the second highest age group brackets, there is a larger portion of female population versus male population. The two younger groups do have about even. They're fairly even. There's more males in the younger group and more females in the second group. Now, this is a breakdown map of the percentage of residents who have a high school degree, GED, or an alternative that is equivalent. And as you can see from this map, there are a lot of areas in and around Wilmington that have higher rates of high school completion. The official count is that 83.6% of residents have a high school diploma or equivalent, and 27% go on to achieve a bachelor's degree or higher. So there is a not high percentage that go on to continue their education past high school. And this one, we have the poverty level. The areas that are red is the highest level areas. whereas the lighter it gets, the lower the poverty level is. Wilmington has a whopping 26.1% of the population that live below the poverty level. The per capita income rate is averaged at only $26,000 a year. It is a large problem that a lot of people don't have a sufficient income to support themselves and their families in and around the city of Wilmington. And here you see the crime index rates. Now the purple is Wilmington and the US average is in green. And as you can see, Wilmington greatly surpasses the US national average for crime. This is an issue that has actually been popular in recent media as well, as we got a reputation as being called quote unquote murder city due to the out of control violent crime and murder rates per capita in the city. And here, this is a map that I felt was important to include as well. This is a housing map based on the number of housing units in each area that were built before 1939. So these homes are 80 plus years old. And as you can see by the amount of red areas, there are a great number of housing structures that are a pretty significant amount. They're very old, and the issues that we can think of with that would be the use of lead paints or outdated plumbing or electrical, outdated code compliance, all that kind of stuff. Any of those issues that could come along with having a housing unit that is such a significant age. As for religion, the vast majority that were polled identify as having no religion, followed by the largest percentage of people identifying as Catholic. Now, the first column in this table would be the religion that the person identified as. The second column is the number of people that identify with that religion, and the final column is the number of congregations. So, for example, with the first line of Catholic, 138,172 people responded as Catholic, and they responded that they're with a total of 33 different congregations. So, as you can see, there is a high number of people in the general area that may not necessarily have heavy religious ties, but then there's also a very heavy Catholic community within the city of Wilmington. Now, the numbers in this are larger than the official Wilmington population count because Wilmington is this includes the unincorporated areas, the areas outside of the city limits that are still considered Wilmington, which is actually a quite large area. Okay, so formal institutions in Wilmington, there's major industries. It's a large amount of banking, pharmaceuticals, chemicals and materials processing, and healthcare. Some of the most notable employers that we have in Wilmington, there's Christiana Care. It's a healthcare company. They have hospitals, doctors' offices, screening, medical aid units, all that kind of thing. And DuPont, which is chemicals and material processing. They make such things as Teflon and nylon, all those types of materials. AstraZeneca, which obviously they create a lot of pharmaceuticals. And then we have quite a few banks. We have some notable ones are JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Barclays. A large portion of people that live in the city of Wilmington actually work for the state of Delaware. And then another large portion of employees work for the University of Delaware, which is the main university that we have in the state. Now, as for informal institutions, there are many significant community events that are held every year, and some of them are multiple times a year, such as the Police Athletic League youth dances, where the members of the police force and their families, they will organize these safe, controlled youth dance parties where the youth can go and be safe but be kids. And we usually have every year the Italian, Polish, Greek festivals. They're huge celebrations for the different ethnicities, and they encompass large areas of the city where they have food and dancing. They have carnival rides. There's also the ice cream festival, which is held every year. They have a whole bunch of local vendors that will come. Many members of the community come, and everybody really enjoys going to that every year. And then we also have quite a few music festivals that are held every year. We have a jazz festival, a Clifford Brown Jazz Festival. There's a blues festival, and then there's actually the Bob Marley Reggae Music Festival that has been held in honor of his time spent living in the city of Wilmington. There's also the Wilmington Flower Market, wherein there's beautiful displays of flowers and people can go and buy every year, and they also have different food and entertainment options. Community groups that can be very important. We have the Wilmington Blue Rocks, Catholic Charities, West End Neighborhood House, Boys and Girls Clubs, Latin American Community Centers, Jewish Community Centers. Here is a map of Wilmington. You can see in the lighter color the official city limits. Now, as for the Good Community Assessment, they're listed these 9 common needs that a community has to have to be considered good. And when we assess, is Wilmington a good community? Safety is an issue. The high crime rates and the healthy living conditions affect the safety of residents. And again, that's the violent crime and the issues with the housing. Goods and services are available to most, but not all, and often the goods that are available are at a lower quality than desired. So sometimes people don't get quite what they would want to live their life and be happy. Certain areas of the city have relationships among the residents that are extremely strong, such as there's the Italian neighborhoods, there's the Liberian immigrant neighborhood that their community is extremely tight knit, and they support each other as much as they possibly can. Whereas there's other communities that they don't interact as strongly. Different areas of the city share different values and goals, and some are very cohesive and some are less centralized. Most areas do not view the whole person, but there are some localized areas that do, such as the Italian community or the Hispanic areas of the community. By and large, there is a lack of predictability in day-to-day interactions, largely due to the crime rate, and community members mostly have a recognized place in the social structure, even if it's not exactly what they like. There is a lack of opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Certain areas are extremely homogeneous, and those areas that have the better stability tend to be a more heterogeneous community. So in conclusion, based on the guidelines, Wilmington would not be a good community. The developments and initiatives that have been in place recently